My father left us when I was 10. Now I know the real reason. When I was 10, my father walked out on my mom and me. He didn't say goodbye. One day, he just didn't come home from work. At first, I thought something terrible happened. A car crash, a robbery, something tragic. But after 2 days, my mom sat me down and simply said, "He's not coming back." No crying. No screaming. Just that flat sentence, and then silence. The following years were hard. We moved to a smaller apartment. My mom worked 2 jobs. I learned to be independent early. She never spoke badly about him. If I asked, she would say, "He made his choice." I grew up hating him anyway. Fast forward to now, I'm 27. I was recently contacted by a woman on Facebook. Her name was Lena, and she said, "I think we might be siblings." I was stunned. I didn't respond right away. But curiosity got the better of me. We talked. She's 25. Lives in the same state. Her dad. My dad. But she had grown up with him. Her childhood was the exact opposite of mine: loving father, stable home, vacations, birthday parties. She said he was the best dad ever. I didn't believe her, until she sent pictures. There he was. Older, grayer, but clearly the same man. Smiling. Holding her as a toddler. At her graduation. At her wedding. He hadn't disappeared. He had just started over. I confronted my mom. She finally broke down and told me the truth. He cheated. He had another family. I found out. I told him to leave. I didn't want you to grow up thinking love meant betrayal. He had been living only 2 towns away. All this time. With her. With them. I haven't reached out to him. I don't know if I want to. Part of me wants to scream at him. Part of me wants to ask why wasn't I enough. And a small part of me, ashamedly, just wants to hear him say he's sorry. But I don't think I'll get that. I'm still processing everything. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive him. But now I finally understand why he left. And it hurts even more than not knowing. The letter I never wanted to write. After a week of silence, I finally responded to Lena. "Can we meet?" She agreed instantly. We chose a quiet cafe midway between our towns. I got there early, jittery and unsure of what to expect. When she walked in, it was like seeing a stranger with half of my face. Her eyes were our dad's. So were her expressions. It was unsettling. She smiled nervously and sat down. "I'm really glad you came." I didn't know how to respond. My throat was dry. I managed a, "Yeah," and then we just sat for a moment. "I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't mean to stir up pain. I just found out about you a few months ago. I thought you deserved to know." I asked how she found out. Apparently, our father, Alan, had told her he'd had a son from a past relationship, but never elaborated. Lena only found out the full story when her mom finally confessed during an argument. Her mom knew about us all along. It felt like betrayal layered on betrayal. My entire life had been built on a lie, one he constructed and she sustained. Lena was apologetic. Genuinely so. I could see she wasn't trying to hurt me. She handed me a photo, our father and her, fishing when she was maybe 6. "He always loved fishing," she said. So did I. It stung more than I could admit. I had learned to fish alone, with YouTube and a cheap pole from Walmart. Meanwhile, he was out on a boat with her, probably packing sandwiches and humming songs. She asked me if I wanted to meet him. I froze. "I don't know," I said. Part of me wants to hit him. The other part wants to beg for an explanation. "Maybe you should write to him," she said gently. Say everything. No filters. That night, I wrote a letter. Not to give, not to send, just to write. It turned into 5 pages. Full of everything I never got to say. I wrote. You made me feel invisible. You left and lived a full life with someone else while I was scraping together pieces of what was left. You taught her how to ride a bike, I learned from a neighbor. You helped her with school projects, I stayed up crying because I didn't know how to do mine. You made her breakfast, I made cereal in silence. You took her to father-daughter dances, I sat outside and lied to my friends that you were out of town. Why wasn't I worth staying for? I cried until I couldn't see the words anymore. The next day, I emailed it to myself. Just to keep it somewhere. 2 weeks later, Lena messaged me. He wants to meet. He's scared. But he's willing. I didn't respond. 4 days. Then I said yes. We met at a public park. Safe, neutral, open. When I saw him approaching, I felt my chest tighten. He looked older, but not broken. Just, older. He paused when he saw me. I didn't move. He walked up slowly. Hi, he said. You look like your mother. I said nothing. He shifted awkwardly. Thank you for agreeing to see me. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted to look you in the eye. I still said nothing. I left because I was a coward, he continued. I got caught. I made a mess. And I thought the best thing I could do was walk away and let your mom raise you without my chaos. She didn't get that choice, I snapped. You left me, not her. I waited by the door for weeks thinking you were dead. His face crumpled. I know. I know I ruined everything. I think about you all the time. Every birthday. Every holiday. I watched from a distance. That stopped me. What do you mean, watched? I kept tabs. I drove past your school a few times. Your graduation. I saw it from the back. I stayed in the car. I wanted to reach out so many times. I was shaking. Then why didn't you? Because I was ashamed. Because I thought you'd hate me. Well, I said, I did. He nodded slowly. I know. You had every right to. There was a long silence between us. Just wind and birds and the distant sound of kids playing. Then he reached into his coat and handed me an envelope. What's this? I wrote you a letter. I wrote one every year on your birthday. I didn't know if you'd ever read them. But I kept writing. I opened the envelope at home. It was thick. Inside were 17 letters. Sealed, dated. Year by year. From when I was 11 to 27. I didn't read them all that night. I read one. My 13th birthday. Happy birthday, Tyler. You're becoming a teenager today. I hope you're still skateboarding. I used to love watching you fall and then jump back up laughing. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I want you to know, I love you, even if you never speak to me again. I put the others in a drawer. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know if I want him in my life. I've lived too long without him. But I do know this. Some wounds never close. But some, with time, with truth, can scar over just enough to stop the bleeding. The letters I wasn't ready to read. It took me a month to open the second letter. I kept the envelope in my drawer, under old tax papers and forgotten notebooks. I'd glance at it occasionally but never had the courage to reach for it. I wasn't sure if I was protecting myself from more pain or just punishing him by refusing to engage. But one night, after too much coffee and too little sleep, I pulled the whole bundle out. 17 letters. I read them in order. Year 14 was short. He mentioned the World Cup and how he remembered I used to run around the house pretending to be a goalie. He wrote that he hoped I was doing something I loved. He apologized again. Each letter felt like a missed hug. By the time I hit year 18, I couldn't breathe. You're a man now. I wonder what kind of man you are. I wonder if I ruined you, or if you overcame me. I hope it's the latter. I hope you're nothing like me, but I hope you kept your heart. I threw the letters across the room. Because I had become like him. I had distanced myself from people. I'd let my anger turn into avoidance, especially in relationships. I had left texts unanswered, love unspoken. I didn't let people close, because he showed me what happens when you let people close. I didn't tell anyone I met him. Not even my mom. Until she found the letters. She was cleaning while I was at work. She never touches my stuff, but the drawer jammed, and she pulled too hard. The letters spilled out. When I came home, she was sitting on the couch holding year 21. I froze. You met him? She asked softly. I nodded. A few weeks ago. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just said. I always knew one day you'd want to know the truth. I was scared it would hurt you more than not knowing. I don't know if it's better, I said honestly. But it's real. She placed the letter back in the envelope. Just, don't let him rewrite history. He left. That part is not fiction. I know, I said. But I need to decide what comes next. Lena and I kept talking. Not every day, but more and more. She told me about her childhood, about how Alan, our father, taught her how to drive, cheered her on at swim meets, sat with her during her panic attacks. At first, it was hard to hear. It felt like someone describing my life, just lived by someone else. But oddly, I started feeling something else too, jealousy, yes, but also curiosity. What made him change? Why did he become a good father to her, but not me? And more than that, was he still that man? One Saturday, Lena invited me over for dinner. I want you to meet Mom, she said. Her mom. The woman who knew about me. The woman who helped him hide. I almost declined. But something told me I had to go. The dinner was quiet at first. Tense. Her mom, Claire, was polite. She didn't try to fake closeness. She didn't pretend we were a family. After dessert, she asked if we could speak alone. We sat in the backyard. I know you have no reason to believe me, she began, but I regret how things happened. Do you? I asked. Because it kind of seems like you got everything. I didn't, she said. I got a broken man. He was never whole with me. There was always guilt in his eyes. Even when he smiled. I stayed silent. I didn't ask him to abandon you. That was his choice. I told him if he wanted to stay, he had to come clean and do the hard work. He chose the easy way. That's not what he told me. She looked at me with something like sorrow. Of course it's not. He needs to believe he left for your benefit. That's the only way he can sleep at night. I didn't know what to believe anymore. Later that night, I confronted Alan. Why didn't you fight for me? I asked. Why didn't you visit? Call. Even once. He looked down. Because I was afraid of who I was around you. I was a liar. A cheater. A failure. I wanted to become someone better. And I didn't think I could do that while facing what I'd done. That's not an answer, I snapped. That's an excuse. He didn't argue. You're right, he said. And for once, I saw something different in him. Not the man who ran. Not the man who justified. But a man trying to carry the weight of all the damage he left behind. So now here I am. Trying to figure out what kind of son I want to be. What kind of man I want to be. He texts sometimes. Carefully. Timidly. He signs off with, "I love you, if you'll let me." I haven't said it back. But I haven't blocked his number either. Maybe that's the beginning of forgiveness. Maybe not. All I know is, I'm no longer that 10-year-old boy waiting at the door. I'm someone new. And I get to decide what kind of ending this story gets. Learning how to breathe again. I started therapy. It wasn't because of a breakdown or some dramatic revelation. It was because I realized I didn't know how to move forward. Not with Alan, not with my mom, not even with myself. My therapist, a calm woman named Dana, asked me one question in our first session that shook me. Who would you be if you weren't angry anymore? I didn't have an answer. I had carried that anger for so long, it had become my identity. My reason. My excuse. Letting it go felt like letting him off the hook. But holding on was hurting me more than it was punishing him. Alan started writing again. Not letters this time, texts. Short ones. Careful. Saw a guy on a skateboard today. Thought of you. Just read that book you mentioned. You were right, it wrecked me. Happy birthday. 28 looks good on you. I didn't always reply. But sometimes I did. Sometimes I even meant it. One day, he invited me to lunch. Just the two of us. I almost said no. But Dana encouraged me to go, not for him, but for me. To practice choosing my future, not reacting to my past. We met at a small diner on the edge of town. I expected it to be awkward, but strangely, it wasn't. He told stories about Lena, about his dog named Murphy, about how he tried making sourdough during the pandemic and nearly burned the kitchen down. I laughed. It was the first time I'd laughed around him. And it scared me. Afterward, he offered to walk with me through the park. I agreed. We passed a father teaching his son to ride a bike. Alan got quiet. I should have done that with you, he said softly. I didn't say anything. Then he added, I know I can't go back. But I'm here now. If you'll let me stay. I looked at him for a long time. This man who had hurt me. Disappointed me. Haunted me. And yet, here he was, flawed, older, maybe still broken, but trying. I nodded once. I'm not ready to call you, Dad. But you can stay. He smiled. I'll take it. Mom found out we were talking again. I told her directly, I owed her that much. Her face was unreadable at first. I'm not mad, she finally said. I just hope you know what you're doing. I don't, I admitted. But I know what I'm not doing anymore, waiting for someone else to fix it. She nodded. Then she surprised me by saying, if you ever want to bring him over. I won't stop you. I haven't taken her up on that. Yet. Lena and I grew closer. She invited me to her husband's birthday barbecue. I was nervous, but everyone was warm, even her mom, Claire. I didn't speak much, but I observed a lot. Alan was there too, helping grill, laughing with his grandson. And for the first time, I didn't feel like an outsider. I felt like I was watching a life that could include me, if I let it. After everyone went inside, Alan and I sat in the yard under string lights. He handed me a small box. Inside was a photo of me. I was maybe 7, holding up a muddy fish with the biggest grin. It was printed and framed. I kept that in my drawer, he said. All these years. I stared at it, stunned. Where did you get this? Your mom sent it with the divorce papers. I guess, she wanted me to remember what I was leaving behind. The weight of it hit me like a punch. And suddenly, for the first time, I realized maybe, just maybe, he regretted it every single day. Healing isn't pretty. It's not a movie montage with soft music and sunrise jogs. It's therapy sessions that leave you numb. It's staring at old photos until your chest hurts. It's crying in the car for no reason. It's answering your father's text with just, okay, but knowing that okay meant everything. I still don't know if I'll ever fully forgive him. But I'm no longer waiting for an apology big enough to fix the past. Some apologies are lived, not spoken. And Alan is finally living his. When everything changed again. It started with a call from Mom. They found something in my lung. Could be cancer. It was. Stage 2. Treatable, but still terrifying. I didn't tell Alan right away. I wasn't sure I wanted to. But when he texted, "Everything okay?" I replied honestly. Mom has cancer. He showed up at the hospital 2 days later, unexpected, holding tulips. "I'm here for you," he said. Not for her. For me. I let him in. To my surprise, Mom didn't throw him out. They spoke quietly, calmly, about old memories and local gossip. It wasn't forgiveness, but it wasn't war either. He kept showing up during her treatment. Brought soup. Sat with me. Listened. One day he asked, "Do you think she forgives me?" I said, "I think she stopped needing to hate you." That's something. When the treatment ended and the prognosis looked good, Mom told me. "I'm glad he showed up when it mattered, for you." And I was too. He wasn't the man I needed when I was 10. But now, when life turned upside down again, he stayed. And that meant something. Maybe not everything. But enough. A year passed. Mom's cancer went into remission. Alan kept in touch. Not every day, not dramatically, just, consistently. Like someone trying to stay. I never called him Dad. Not once. Even when I introduced him to a friend, I'd pause and say, "This is Alan." He never corrected me. Never flinched. But I could feel the weight of it in the silence. Then one night, we sat outside my apartment after grabbing burgers. Just the two of us, watching traffic go by. He turned to me and said, quietly, "I know I'll never earn it, but, do you ever think of me as your father?" It was the question I'd been avoiding for years. I looked at him. At his weathered face. At the man who failed me once, but showed up now, when it counted. And I said, "You're not the man who raised me. But you're trying to be the man who stays. That counts for something." He nodded, eyes glassy. "I'll take that." Then I added, almost without thinking, "Thanks, Dad." His hand trembled slightly. He didn't speak. Just sat there, holding that moment like it was made of glass. And I realized, sometimes healing isn't loud. Sometimes, it's one word said quietly after years of silence.